All right, here we go. A little calmer, different topic. Let's just get into it. Popovich, Mr. Greg Popovich, among his peers, would you say that he's the greatest coach ever? Now I'm going to put him in line with, because I never seen R back, I never seen the other dudes, but I'm going to put him in line with Phil Jackson and Pat Riley. That's the pool I think that we can pull from to see who is the greatest out of those three. Who would you say out of those three is the greatest coach ever?
Listen, in my opinion, you got to say Pop. And from a standpoint of just watching the game, you can see the X's and O's with Pop. If we watching the series now, you could tell all of the adjustments that he's been able to make. The guy has a 70% win percentage in the regular season. 70%. 5 championships. And I feel out of all those guys you named, he's done a lot more with less. Now we can argue. In my opinion. Now we can argue that he had Tim Duncan. You could argue, of course, he had Dave Robinson. But Manu wasn't Manu until, he got underneath Pop and he played in that system. Tony Parker. Did you think Tony Parker was going to be this great guy? I think he transcended the international player also within that system. So to me, from an X's and O's standpoint, outside of Brad Stevens, that's another conversation. Pop, hands down to me, is the best coach. I'm going
to let you speak. Did you just mention Brad Stevens?
I just had to because I felt like remember I said he's the best coach.
Go ahead, Jace.
From the guy who said the Billy Donovan effect.
Oh yeah, the Billy Donovan.
Go ahead, Jace.
I'm going to talk about. I think Greg Popovich is clearly the greatest coach in the NBA ever, and I'm going to even ever. I'm going to go with ever, and I'm going to even say that maybe our debate should have been: is he the greatest coach ever in any sport? Because I think that we should talk about him that highly. Let me tell you something. I think Popovich is the most emulated coach in the history of basketball and in coaching. I think that people try to take what he did, take his philosophy. I think the only other guy currently who's emulated more than him, or people try to replicate, is Bill Belichick. Of course. And I hate saying that as a Jets fan, but I think Bill Belichick definitely is a phenomenal coach. Let me just say this. Here's what makes Pop a great coach. His system has worked even though the players have changed. Okay? And here's the staple of San Antonio. Okay? Forget what they do defensively and forget, dribble handoff, screen away. Forget what they run. Here is what makes Pop great. He takes all of these players who have different skill sets through different, really, time periods of the NBA, right? And he gets them to pass the ball to that extra pass.
Into his system.
In his system, right. Now, you could argue that he's not that great of a coach, his system is great. But somebody had to come up with that system. And there's a lot of people, there's a lot of teams who are taking that same system and using it to win.
Philly.
Okay?
Because his disciples. But go ahead.
Right. Okay. Now, let's talk about the Spurs.
Disciples.
Let me talk about the Spurs' last chip. I'm going to use that as a reference point. Their last chip against Miami. Okay?
Should have beat them twice. Let's cut that up.
Right. Okay. Ray Allen. But LeBron's greatness. Whatever. Okay. In that series where they beat Miami, the Spurs passed the ball 500 more times.
Wow. 500
more times than the Miami Heat did. Now I know that you have LeBron and there's a lot of ISO going on, but if you pass the ball 500 more times in a 7-game series, to me that is one of the most impressive stats that I've ever seen. Now in that series, 44% of their shots were uncontested shots, and they shot over 66% from the field. This year, the Spurs are 6th in the league in passes received and passes made.
Let me ask a question. What is the criteria that you're going by that's going to outline that puts him ahead of Pat Riley and ahead of Phil Jackson?
What I'm saying to you is that listen, Pat Riley, they had the Showtime, they were up and down, they were a transition team when nobody else was playing transition basketball.
There was much more than that.
Well, I'm not saying it wasn't, but he had great players too. But they played transition ball when nobody else was playing basketball. Greg Popovich has made this system where guys move the ball, the kind of ball movement you see, getting guys open shots. Now, what happens because of that? You develop players. Look at Simmons this year. Here's a guy who got plucked out of the D-League who looks like a very well-seasoned veteran. Why? Because when he's open, he's wide open. Okay? Now, let me just make a couple more points.
Just a couple?
Just a couple.
That's fine.
Let me tell you something. There are, and you brought this up, and I know they're not a good team yet, but Philly is emulating the Popovich system. Okay?
They are.
Golden State, Steve Kerr, Popovich, Braintree. They're emulating that system, and they have better shooters than Popovich ever had. Okay?
Clear that up.
Atlanta, another Popovich tree guy, implemented the same system. They ran it a lot better when they had Kyle Korver shooting from the outside. What I'm saying to you is that speaks of your greatness when other coaches are doing the same thing. Now, you brought up Brad Stevens. The Boston Celtics actually play a very similar style, even though he's not from the same brain tree as Greg Popovich. If you watch their games closely, they all have that kind of system where guys are making that extra pass and you're getting wide open shots.
Now, I'm okay. For Pat Riley to number one to coach superstars and get them to win, go up against the Celtics in that battle every year, basically back and forth. But for the fact you took a 6'9" point guard, put him at center when you had one of the greatest centers ever, to have him buy into the system, to have Kareem buy into Magic Johnson. All of these things is about coaching. Also, Pat Riley went to Miami and won a chip. When you
Shaq and Dwayne Wade.
Hold on.
Let's be clear about that.
But he didn't take Showtime there. He didn't take Showtime there. He went to Miami and used the pieces he had and won a chip. Also, when you look at Phil Jackson, yes, Phil Jackson went to two teams. He went to the Bulls, turned the Bulls around right away. 6 chips out of him. Turn around, he goes to the Lakers. Yes, he had Shaq and Kobe, but at the end of the day, he won 5 chips there. Listen, I'm going to say it right now. I'm not saying Pop isn't a great coach. I'm not saying these 3 aren't great coaches. But there's always going to be reasons on why you're going to put one there and one here. I think that what is being missed in all of this is that I would put my top player, my top coach would be Pat Riley. That would be mine because of what he's done in changing his system around and still winning. Pop stayed in his system. He got the players to fit in his system. He never had to. Think about it. Tony Parker fit into a system. I called Tony Parker a system point guard years ago. He fit into that system perfectly. Pop seen that. I give him credit. That scouting got all of that. At the end of the day, though, Pop's system doesn't change.
Can I say something? Do you remember who his first point guard was? Like the first good point guard?
Avery Johnson.
Avery Johnson.
Avery Johnson. That's
another
his
uncle. Johnson, right?
That's his uncle.
I mean, that guy won with
Same size,
Avery
too.
Johnson at the point.
Yeah.
Sean Elliott was their second best player probably until they got Tim Duncan. Listen.
Hold up now. David Robinson? Oh, you gonna leave off David Robinson?
I said that Sean Elliott was their second best player.
But he had David Robinson also.
But you weren't even listening to what I was saying.
Yeah, he said
until they got Tim Duncan.
But they had David Robinson also.
Okay.
Just wanted
that means that David Robinson was the best player.
Right. He was.
I just want to make sure his name was mentioned.
Okay. Did Greg Popovich ever have a player as good as Kobe or Mike?
Magic also.
Or Magic.
Dwayne Wade, right? Forgot Shaq. Mind you, too, Pat Riley put the chloroform joint over your man Van Gundy and got him out there to coach that Heat team. Let's just get that out of the way quick. Let's just get that out of the way. I'm not coaching.
What I'm saying, Pat coaching.
Pat identified he had great players. Yeah. Pat identified he had great players.
Did Van Gundy win with him?
What you say?
Did Van Gundy win with him?
No, and I'm not denying that. Listen, did Doug Collins win with Michael Jordan?
Wait. I just want to make sure.
People think he's a good player.
I want to make sure you put that on record.
I totally understand.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say.
I'm gonna counter Mark's point.
No. Let him finish. Go ahead.
I think we're on the same page.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna call this my pop quiz. My pop quiz. Pun intended. Okay. Can you say that Tim Duncan would have been as great as he was without Greg Popovich? You don't know that for sure.
I say yes.
It's just a question.
He was Mr. Fundamental coming out of Wake Forest. He was Mr. Fundamental.
Let me finish
coming out of
my
Wake Forest.
Quiz, please. Here's my pop quiz. Would the other coaches have started resting players without Greg Popovich?
Now that makes some great.
Let me ask you. Okay,
you're right. Hold on. That's a pop quiz. Because you rest players make you great? Really?
No, he's saying that
He's transcended the game, and other
I
coaches
agree
are
with that.
emulating that.
Absolutely.
Okay, let me ask you
Absolutely.
this: would the European
He's still
trend
actively
in the
coaching.
NBA? Would the
Pat
European
Riley and
trend?
Phil Jackson retired.
Would
How
the
can
European-
you emulate them when
Hold on.
they're not coaching no
Would
more?
the European trend be what it is in the NBA right now, if not for Greg Popovich?
That's a good question, Mark. That's a good question.
Would any other coach? Let's go outside of basketball. Would any other coach have
Outside
talked
of
about?
basketball
Hold on
now.
one second.
We're outside of basketball.
Yes, because that's what makes you great. You said that.
Okay.
You said,
Outside of
we got to
basketball.
get these real ego guys to play together. You said it.
Okay, but that's in basketball.
You said
But
it.
that's in basketball.
Okay.
That's not outside of basketball.
He said it. He said it.
But that's not outside of basketball.
go ahead,
How's that outside of basketball?
Okay.
Okay, come on.
Would any other coach talk about politics?
Can Pop coach
Hold on one
coach
second.
egos?
Hold on.
Can Pop coach egos?
I'm listening.
Go ahead.
My point?
Go ahead.
Just a question
Would
before the time
any
runs out.
other coach talk about politics and the social issues that Greg Popovich spoke about? This is why his players love him. This is a part of coaching. He talked about Trump. He talked about healthcare. He
talked about Xbox, too.
immigration. Okay? He talked about Black History Month, and he talked about white privilege in America.
This is the pop
Would
quiz.
any other coach do those things if they were not Greg Popovich?
The Miami Heat
The answer
wore,
is no.
wore hoods after
The answer is
Trayvon Martin was
Would
killed
we
at
accept-
the behest of Pat Riley. Just keep that in mind.
Okay? Would any
I'm not
other-
saying Pat. I know how that's overlooked though, but
I'm
see,
not
that's
saying
not part
Pat
of
Riley
the. That's the
wasn't
Riley
good.
quiz.
Would any other coach get a pass on the way that he talks to reporters
But
if he
you
was
talking
not
about the
great?
nuances of Popovich. I understand.
But that's a part of
the
being a coach.
nuances.
That's a part of-
No, that's
but
the
all these
nuances
things
of
are trying to
Popovich.
be-
That doesn't make you great because you're an asshole to the doggone media doesn't make you great.
Yeah, but
but our
this is
time
the-
is out. We're going to say good night and listen. This is another good one.
He's wrong. Wrong.